Good day everyone and welcome to Exile News, the weekly show that brings you all the important news and information on Battle of Exile. And starting this week really strong with the changes to the Warcries. So basically GGG wanted to remake them for a while, and the basic are the fact that Warcries release a shockwave that taunts enemies on you, and then they apply either a buff on yourself or your allies or a debuff on the enemies. And now depending on the power of the enemies instead of the number of the enemies, meaning that you can use it against bosses as well, and it's gonna be good. Also, most of them exert your next few attacks with special properties, so not all of them, because for example Enduring Cry kinda remained what it was before. Instead it also has some additional healing, however it does not exert your attack, so it's purely a defensive Warcry. Instead we have an Intimidating Cry, which was previously available only through a unique item, now it's a gem, and it is fully offensive, so beside taunting the enemies and intimidating them, it also exerts your next few attacks to deal double damage, and this is like probably retarded strong, especially if you have something like an assassin that's guaranteed to crit on a first strike on a full Earth enemy. And well, I'm sure people will find a way to break this cry over here. It feels really strong because double damage is amazing, guaranteed double damage at that. Also, there's more cries like new Ancestral Cry. It's designed for strike skills, so obviously giving a good buff to those. Hopefully they will be available, although with the new slam skills that we're gonna see later, feel like strike skills are gonna be left a little bit in the dust. For example, Seismic Cry, which is the cry created just for the slam skills, make them hit harder and in a larger radius, so also making it easier to stun with your hits, which, well, it's gonna work great for some stun builds. Rallying Cry is fully supportive now. Instead of actually regenerating your mana, it's very much of a support type cry. And then there's the new Infernal Cry, which basically is the Abyssal Cry reworked. So Abyssal Cry does not exist anymore. Instead, we have Infernal Cry covering the enemy in ashes, also exerting your next few attacks to trigger Combustion, which on hitting an enemy, which basically is a triggered AoE effect fire skill, and then when the enemy die they explode, dealing fire damage as well. So Infernal Cry is really amazing for clearing if your skill does not clear the whole screen at the same time. So it's probably really good for Cyclone, but it might be good for anything pretty much, and if you're scaling fire damage as well, it's definitely crazy. There's also the new General Cry that summons warriors based on the total power of nearby enemies, as well as the power of nearby corpses. So if there's a lot of corpses, you can summon these warriors, and they will use once the skill that they are linked to. So you can have pretty much this kind of warriors, and you can be a summoner with a Warcry. That's kind of a new playstyle there, and it's definitely gonna be really crazy. Also, if you're interested in these cries, definitely check the video here. It's like a minute long and it shows some of the Warcries, which are pretty amazing. Speaking of amazing things, we have some of the uniques that have been rebalanced. And you can see the 2 Reworked items have kind of been rebalanced, and they now work on bleed over time multiplier for the sword, and plus 25 maximum rage for the axe. So using both together is definitely gonna be a really strong crit bleeding build, but you can probably use them separately and just abuse them as well. And there's all of the other items as well, like Ungil's Harmony, which has been trashed here for like ever. It now grants a huge critical chance increase, so if you although your crit strikes do not deal damage at all. So if you only care about critting and not dealing damage with your crits, this is definitely really good now. The Blood Dance is also like retardedly strong, I guess, right now, because it has up to 30% increased damage per frenzy charge. And well, I mean, it's against enemies on low life, so I guess it's not that broken, but it's still pretty broken if you ask me. Full Nettle's Embrace now triggers the Nova instead of when a bleeding enemy dies. It triggers it when you hit a bleeding enemy. So it feels crazy. Like if you have a Cyclone, which hits a lot of times, then you hit a bleeding enemy and the Nova explodes, and I think it explodes not on you, but on the target. So you can probably clear really well with this, even though you want to hit faster, but it's a slow weapon. It's definitely going to be really, really interesting. There's also many others, like the Dark Seer, which gives malediction on the enemy blinded by you, and the item blinds enemies which are nearby. However, you have to blind yourself, because while you're blinded you can give malediction to others. So even GG does not tell you how to grant yourself blind. Maybe there are going to be some new items in that. We'll see, we'll see. Pretty damn interesting stuff. Anyway, also we got a preview of some of the crafting options, and you can see you can sacrifice maps to gain missions, which is crazy. If you're farming like June for the unveils, you can sacrifice a map and get more missions. You can do the same for Zana, which is definitely crazy. Like sacrificing a map to obtain 3 Zana missions is definitely crazy sustain for your maps, because you basically get like double the maps out of these 3 maps at the cost of just 1 map. So unless this is really costly, or unless this is tier of a higher tier, we'll have to see. Maybe you have to have like T3 seeds to actually do these on red maps. We'll see, but still it feels like it's pretty strong. Also, you can change 1 stack of something into stack of something different, like 1 stack of clear oils into stack of different color oil. That's definitely gonna be a lot of value there. You can do that with Catalyst, you can do that with maps, fragments. So definitely really, really, really strong crafting, and I can't wait to see the spreadsheets, because it's gonna be annoying to do otherwise. But you can see all of these monsters, you will know which seeds to grow to get which type of crafting eventually, when the community gets up to it and compiles their usually spreadsheets. Anyway, here are the slams, the new slam skills that have actually been categorized as slams, and I expect them to have the new keyword slam, of course. And these are all the ones, and there's the new Earth Shatter as well. Basically, when you hit with Earth Shatter, you send 5 damaging fissures in all directions, basically in a star-shaped direction. And then when you slam the ground again, hitting these spikes, or when you do a Warcry, which includes these spikes in the zone, the spikes explode and deal damage around them. To be honest, it feels like it should be like Perforate in Sand Stance should be what Earth Shatter is right now. I don't feel the need to have Earth Shatter divided by Perforate, even though they try to update Perforate as well to be actually useful in Sand Stance as well. But we'll see if that works. The point is that all of these skills kind of got somewhat reworked, or just numerically empowered. So all of these are pretty nice right now, and if you count the new, for example, Seismic Cry, and then you count the new support Fist of War, which basically grants you an empowered attack every few seconds, and you have more damage and increased area, and then with the Warcry, which does more damage, increased area, you basically have a huge area and a huge damage, probably without going too much into area of effect on the tree, which is pretty damn good. You can definitely clear the whole screen, and you can definitely check the video here where people are clearing the whole screen. It's a minute, it's definitely worth it, it's really good. So really nice stuff. And also we got a preview at the challenges. So at 12 we get a new set of footprints, which you can't really see from the image here, but at 24 you get this cape with the cane all included, and it feels pretty good. It moves kind of nicely, it has a nice color, so definitely nice. And at 36 you get this portal over here, which looks pretty amazing. To be honest, it's been a while since I've been hyped by a portal, although 36 challenges has been getting more and more harder to get, because I don't know, it just requires a lot of time. It's definitely gonna require a lot of harvesting, but still, if the league is good, it's definitely gonna be interesting and worth to get to that point. Also, don't forget to check the thread where all of the teasers are compiled. For example, you can see the new Reach of the Council bow, which is crazy, and I had to go on Reddit to understand how it works, but it's pretty nice. Basically, greater volley, you know, it makes you fire 2 arrows on the left and 2 arrows on the right of your original arrow, and basically the first arrow on the left and the first on the right are considered the first firing point, and then the extending forward you get the second, the third and the fourth, and so you can see the effect that these arrows are gonna have. It's pretty crazy, it feels pretty good, and it's probably gonna be really weird to see, but probably pretty fun as well. Anyway, really excited. Next week is gonna be the launch, so this week is gonna be the end of Delirium, and next week is gonna be the official launch of Harvest, so get yourself ready, get your days off work if you need to, and be prepared for an amazing league again. So yeah, that was all for this week. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment down below. Also, if you want to remain updated every week, be sure to subscribe to my channel. That was all. I've been your host Zarzo, and I'll see you guys the next time.